today's tutorial, we're going to continue on the course CSS245, which happens to be the development, the planning and development of security. Alright, and in today's tutorial, we're taking our bearing from the police force. We want to look at what constitutes them and what is expected of them. With this being said, let's go straight into it. Okay, so we have, I think I should reduce this a bit to right, it's reflecting on the screen. Okay, yeah, I think that's better. Okay, now we have CSS245 and Nigerian Police Force. We're going to be talking at what constitutes the Police Service Commission. All right, let's put it this way: the Police Service Commission. Now, the Police Service Commission comprises, all right, the following members. We have the chairman and the national, all right, the Act of the National Assembly. We have the chairman, okay, and we have other person, not less than 7, but not more than 9, all right, as may be prescribed by the Act of the National Commission, all right, and other members, 7 to 9 of them, prescribed by the Act of the National Assembly. All right, Act of the National Assembly. Now, the commission is responsible for appointment of persons to office. The Police Service Commission is responsible, all right, of appointment of persons to office. Appointment of persons to office, all right, other than the Police Service Commission does not have it is not in their jurisdiction, it is not under their jurisdiction to appoint, all right, a person, all right, or appoint person to the office of the Inspector General. Okay, now they are also responsible for the dismissal and exercise of disciplinary control. Okay, dismissal and disciplinary control is their responsibility. If it's what dismissal, they have the authority to do that, and they have the authority to implement disciplinary control. Okay, now according to the Nigerian Police Force Act, under Cap 359, the law of Nigeria, section 10, the president may give to the Inspector General such directive with respect to the maintenance, all right, maintaining and security of the public safety and public order. All right, so as we are being told here, that according to the Nigerian Police Act, Cap 359, Nigerian Police Act 359, okay, the president is granted the power to give directives such that directive to who? To the Inspector General, all right, to maintain and secure the public safety and public order, in one sense, to ensure security in the state or in the country, either ways. So we have that as that. Now, let's talk about the private security organization. Now, speaking of which, introducing, all right, the introduction of security management and planning according to Fisher and Green. All right, Fisher and Green in 1986. Fisher and Green in 1986. Okay, they say that citizens' fear of crime and awareness of criminal justice, all right, resources alone cannot effectively control crime. According to what they said that citizens being aware and their fear for crime and the resourcefulness of the criminal justice, all this put together, they are not alone to control crime. So there has been a growing use of individual and corporate protective measure. All right, individual and corporate protective measure, including private security products and services, neighborhood-based crime prevention, and that is the introduction of private security organization. All right, the growing use of individual and corporate protective measure, individual and corporate protective measure. Okay, that is their own definition of private security organization. That it is certain that the state alone cannot provide sufficient security. All right, the government alone cannot provide sufficient security. All right, so there is need to introduce. All right, there is need for the private security sector, the private security organizations to also offer security service. And even with that, is it still sufficient? Are we not still having several issues of security here and there? Security issues. Okay, but that's not the case. That's a discussion for another time. Now, as you can see, also, now, Fisher and Green were well noted, all right? Fisher and Green were well noted that security in its entirety, all right, can hardly be provided by the public organization alone. Security in its entirety, all right? Security put together in its entirety cannot, okay, provide, all right, security in its entirety can hardly be provided, can hardly be provided by the public organization, which is the state, by the pub organ alone, which is the state. Okay, so that's why it is said here that the growing use of individual and corporate protective measure is to cushion the fact that security in its entirety cannot be the only, the responsibility can't be only for the public organization because it is overwhelming. So we have some duties of private security companies. Some of the duties are Okay, requirement of private security guards company. Okay, now before we talk about requirements, some of the duties are security guard companies are empowered to perform the service of watching, guarding, patrolling, or carrying of money for the purpose of providing protection against crime. All right, some of the duties are we have that of watching, guarding, patrolling. Watching, guarding, okay. We have patrolling, and we have protection for against crime. Protection against crime. Against crime. Okay, so we have that as that. Now, some of the requirements of private security guard company are, like we made mention in our class earlier, that when we were making comparison between the public and the private security organization, and we made it clear that unlike the private that is motivated by competition, all right, driven by competition and by profit, when it comes to public, they are driven by the service, because they are not, all right, going after money. They are driven by the service, and there is no competition. That they are the monopoly, all right. They are a monopoly in that industry, because it's just one government. We don't have two governments in a state, so it's just one government, and the same government that provides security. Others that as private security basically are just under there to assist them. Okay, so now, like it said here, we also mentioned that day that public security service providers do not have to register. You don't register, but as a private organization that offers security services or sell products, you have to register under the government. All right. So one of the requirements is they have to register the company with the Corporate Affairs Commission. All right. The company has to be registered. They also have to apply to Minister of Internal Affairs for duplicate copy of license. They also must get license. All right, license, they must get it too. So we talk about register under what we call Corporate Affairs Commission. They must register. They must also get license to do what they are doing, to offer the service. Okay. So we have also the company must be owned by a Nigerian. Okay. So some of the so let me just put one or two things down on that. Requirements. We have 1, 2. They must get what we call license. They must be licensed. All right. Register under what we call the Corporate Affairs Commission. All right, Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC. They must register under CAC. And 3, we have they must be owned by a Nigerian. Okay, so we have that as that. Now let's continue. So now let's talk about some ineligibility to own security guard company in Nigeria. Some of the ineligibility, all right, to own security guard company in Nigeria. We have if the person has been convicted of a criminal offense in penal code, all right, such cannot own a security guard company in Nigeria. if the person has also been convicted of offense including fraud, all right, fraud, robbery, firearm decree, explosive act, this person will not be given a license, all right, to own such company. May be dismissed, discharged, or removed on disciplinary grounds from the police, armed force, of the federation, the prison, whatever armed force of the federation that the person might be before, all right, and he was dismissed or, all right, and he was dismissed or discharged, he cannot own, all right, a security guard company. And someone who is not a citizen, cannot own, all right. So we have that as that. So permit me to raise the board so we can look at some processes involved in the appointment of supernumerary police officer. Now, some of the process involves the formal application. There must be a written formal application to the Inspector General of Police. Process of appointment. We have formal letter to the IG. Formal letter to the IG. All right. The IG, with the approval of the president, direct the appointment. All right. Direct the appropriate authority to appoint. All right. As a supernumerary. When we say supernumerary now, more. All right. Police officer in the force. Okay. Then after the formal letter has been written to the IG, then the IG, with the go ahead of the president, the IG, with the go ahead of the president, then instructs the appropriate authority to go ahead. Okay? That's the step. Next step. Approval of the president. IG, with the approval of the president, then gives the go ahead. Okay? Then gives the go ahead. Then the president authorizes the appropriate authority to appoint the person. Even at that, even after the IG has given the go ahead, then the president himself still has to give another go ahead to the appropriate authorities. Then every authorization, all right, every authority, all right, every authorization shall be in written, all right, form and shall specify the police area. Okay, now let's take this down. All right. President gives his go ahead. Written authorization. And 5, in view of the police division where it is required. Police division. okay, in view of police division where the supernumeracy, all right, police personnel is required. Look at the process. So that's the process of appointment. All right, the process of appointment of supernumeracy police officer. The first thing is that there must be a formal written letter, all right, followed by the IG's acknowledgement, followed by the president's go ahead, and all this authorization must be documented, all right, and this autonumeracy personnel must be in view of the division, all right, must be in view of the division where is required. Okay, so there's something called proformal schedule. Proformal schedule of duty. When we say proformal schedule of duty, what are we talking about? When we say proformal, we are simply talking about a planned rotation within a specific time. Okay, a planned rotation within a specific time. Now, this proformal schedule of duty for security staff. Now, the following schedule of duty is prepared, all right, is prepared for security operatives, and they shall be encouraged to constantly, all right, constantly read and practice them. So we have proforma schedule. Proformal schedule. Okay, now as a security personnel, as a security staff, you are expected as a matter of necessity, all right, as a matter of necessity to receive and read and memorize and practice your schedule, all right, for responsibility as long as you are in the service of security organization. All right, you must be acquainted. You must know where you are to be at the time, all right, how much time to spend at the spot, and what next to do and what not to do. All right, as a personnel, you must always, it's a matter of necessity to memorize, to practice, to read, and to receive, okay, your schedule of responsibility, as long as, like I said, it's all about scheduling. So we have that as that. You have to ensure the protection of properties of the company at all times against theft, all right, to follow schedule. No, all right, when we say no, you must always know, you must always read. When you get acquainted, that you can talk of knowing and reading, and knowing and remembering. Okay, now you have to ensure, okay, regulation of the companies affecting security. Okay, that's absolutely correct. So now on this, we also have, you have to pay attention to all time electricity appliance. All right, you have to ensure that all firefighting equipment are serviced. This is just basically your routine, right? What you are expected to do wherever you find yourself as a police personnel. Okay, so we have that as that. Now, one thing you should understand, that discipline is the backbone of the security operation. Okay, so we have there. So discipline is the backbone of security operations. Discipline is the backbone of any security operation. backbone of any security operations. Okay, backbone, we have them as discipline. So we have that as that. Mr. Rannes, good afternoon. It's great to see you today. But we came very late because we are running up already. So basically, the pro forma we talked about was the one for the pro forma schedule we discussed was the one for junior personnel. Okay, but now we have that of the supervisor, and as a supervisor, you should, all right, be encouraged. As a supervisor, should also be encouraged to read and follow the pro forma schedule. Now, as a supervisor, he must uphold his high standard of competence. All right, high standard of competence. He should also ensure that no guard neglects his duty by sleeping or fall out in absenteeism. Okay, that's one of the things for, we're talking about the lower security personnel. All right, but here we are talking about the supervisors. Okay, for the supervisors, you are expected to uphold that high standard of competence. Okay, that high standard of competence. Now let's continue. We have structural organization chart of industry security management. Okay, permit me to erase this so we can have enough space. Okay, now we have the board of directors, the structural organization chart of industrial security management. Then we have the likes of general manager, GM. Then we also have the likes of chief security officer, CSO, chief security officer, and we have that as that. So look at how it is. Now you can see this. This is the top. That is the top. We are looking at the structure. We're talking about the structure here. So basically, that is the top, and it is filled with the board of directors. Okay. Then under this chief security, you now have safety officer and security officer. You have safety and security officers. So we have that as that. So I think on this note we'll call it a wrap for today, and in our next class we'll get set for some other things. In our next class we'll be taking it from patrol, procedures and techniques. Okay, thank you very much everyone. I believe you have been able to gain a thing or two into this class. Please do well to submit your notes to the corporate quarters, and the good thing is that on the website you can now access a lot of your classes from the website. That's one of the reasons why I couldn't have class yesterday, because there was a lot of work going on in the back end on the website. So please, and I did actually not sleep throughout the night. As you can see, it's showing on my face. So please, let's do all to take advantage of the website www.tutorayo.com, and you can get our classes directly from there. I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorial. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye bye.